Hi guys, I'd love to introduce you to a real force of nature in the artistic pool world and, well, in life in general really as well. Jason Freddie Lynch, the Michigan Kid. Welcome to one of my little chats. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, Mark. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I've waited a long time for this. We've both waited a long time for it, haven't we? Because we set this up a few months ago and we timed it just in time, of course. Now, I know you're frantically busy practicing away for the biggest tournament of the year in the artistic pool world. So use this time now, please, to tell everyone around the world, what is the Artistic Pool World Championships?
Well, the Artistic Pool World Championships brings in players from all the different federations within the WPA, and to one spot where we're going to find out who's the best artistic pool player in the world. And so we've got players from Taiwan, Chi-Ming Lin, who is a two-time defending world champion, Florian Kohler, the internet sensation. We've got Tim Chin, the number one player in the world, some goof guy from Michigan. And then we've got the big old Tennessee Tarzan, Mike Massey, coming back from a hiatus. He hasn't played an event since 2017. And so Mike came out for this one. And we've got none other than Tom Rossman, MC in the event.
Oh, that's fantastic. You need a decent MC. Nothing like the one you had last year. He was awful. I remember who that was. That was me. It was me. I'd done a little bit of MCing, didn't I, last year?
Yeah, couldn't understand him at all. The accent was horrible.
I know, it was terrible. It went both ways, by the way, so it's okay.
Right.
All jokes aside, Jason. Mike Massey, so good to see him back. Good to see Florian there as well. Of course, everyone knows Florian. He's a great ambassador for your sport, isn't he? But Mike Massey was probably the first person I ever saw do a trick shot from America, and I also saw him play snooker. I believe he joined the snooker tour for a little while as well.
He did. Mike is a multidiscipline champion. 8-ball, 9-ball, snooker, and anything that's got a cue sport with it, Mike's done it. So, but some of the old trick shot artists that we really have to stand on the shoulders of. Isaac Newton had a quote that said, "The only reason I see farther is because I stand on the shoulders of giants." And so artistic pool, has a rich history. Mike Massey, Charlie Peterson, way back when, Tom Rossman, Stefano Palinga, Paul Gurney. We've got all these trick shot artists that have kind of paved the way for the modern day movement. And so we're seeing shots evolve, and the movement's actually now in South Africa. And also we've got a group that's interested in Australia. So hopefully with the WPA's help, we can actually make that happen.
Well, I've actually got, I know you've got, well, I know at least one European. Well, Florian, of course, is a European. I'm not sure whether he's got American status yet. Perhaps
not sure. I think
yeah, perhaps they'll be calling him up for the Moscone Cup as well. You never know, do you? But no, I was just going to mention Florian's there. There's Max as well, of course, from France also. Del Sense is his name, Max Del Sense.
Delatray.
Sorry.
Yeah, Max Sense Delatray. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've actually got players from two from France, along with Florian. Max Sense Delatray, Jordan Moreri, who is one of the internet sensations, very viral out there. Chi-Ming Lin from Taiwan, two-time defending champion. We've got Tim Gallagher from Canada coming. The Force of Nature from South Africa, Wayne Parker. And so we've got players coming from all over the world.
Don't forget Superman. He'll be flying in as well, of course. Brian Pauly. Actually, just want to go back to, oh no, I was going to say, sorry, that the reason I mentioned the Europeans were, I've been watching a young lady called Anna Kurakova from Slovakia, and she's so keen, and she started doing her trick shots. And I actually had a little chat with her last night, a video call, and she was a little bit nervous about whether her English was good enough. Well, it certainly is. It's better than mine, if anything. So, but what she's decided, what I talked her into doing is, when I'm doing the commentary next week with, obviously with Kevin Ross from Railbirds TV, he's the man streaming the event. I would love to be there, but I just cannot be this year for a few reasons.
Mhm.
Um, but I will be remotely commentating, and I know I've shared the booth with you before, and I know you'll be jumping in from time to time. But what I've also arranged is for this Anna Kurikova. I thought it would be really cool if we got her in remotely as well. And you know, she
Mhm.
knows all the guys, and she desperately wants to try and compete next year. So she's going to come on and do kind of a 50-50 interview and a little bit of
Mhm.
commentary as well, and just to talk about her
Yeah, Kevin.
experiences.
Yeah, Kevin reached out to me about that. She's from Slovakia, and so
Slovakia, yeah.
yeah, and so that'll be nice. Actually, anytime that we see artistic pool in another country, we really like to, spur that along, so to speak. This is a worldwide sport. We want to make this accessible to everybody. It's just a great sport because you've got the entertainment value as well as the cue side. So,
Yeah, and I think it's cool that it's a lady as well. We'd love to get more women involved. I mean, instead of Florian
mhm.
having his wife on the table, I've told Anna she needs to get her husband on the table and be part of a few of her trick shots.
That'd be great.
Without the short skirt and tights though, nothing like that. You know,
Oh,
no pantyhose.
no, you can't unsee that.
I don't want to make it all about Florian, but you were the guy in the booth for the crazy 48-hour marathon recently.
Mhm.
I mean, how was it for you? Everyone knows that it was tough for Florian, but how was it for you commentating on it?
Oh, it was wonderful. And the kind of funny thing was, as we discussed things beforehand, he says, I'm probably shooting myself in the foot, he said, because after this, there's going to be a video out there with all my setups and all my instructional really for all these shots in the program. And I kind of laughed at him. I said, well, you're going to have 48 hours straight of practice, and you're going to have more time on the pool table than anybody's going to have for this Worlds. And incidentally, that's the one thing that has eluded Florian is the World Championship. And so he's come second, I think at least once. So he doesn't have a Worlds under his belt yet. So I know he's hunting for it.
Well, I was going to ask you actually, my next question was going to be, would you consider him one of the favorites or not?
I think Florian is one of the favorites. Yeah, and then obviously you got to give it to Chi Ming Lin too because he's a two-time defending world champion, and Tim Chin because Tim and Chi Ming went right to the end. I mean, it came down to within a couple points of each other in the finals last year.
Yeah, I was there. I remember it well.
Mhm.
It was a great final. Was that the it was at the league room, wasn't it? Chrissy's
It was at
place.
the league room. Yep, and Chris is actually helping us out with banners this year for this event. Some large vinyl banners, and Chris just stepped up for us with that. So really nice. They're one of my sponsors also.
Yeah,
So
shout out to Chris. I mean, him, his partner, and all the staff there. They work so hard at that business, don't they? And it really
mhm.
is one of my favorite rooms that I visited in the States. It really was special. So look, it's not going to be there this year, but this year it is going to be in your home state. So how are the locals reacting to it? You know, is there interest? And I see you're charging at the door this year, which I didn't see last year. So just explain the venue and that and why it's there.
Well, it's a little bit different this year, and yes, the community has really come together for me. We reached out to the Boys and Girls Club here in the Great Lakes Bay region, right in Bay City, Michigan, and what we did is we actually did something a little bit unique for a pool tournament, at least at this caliber. We actually partnered with them, and all the door proceeds from the event from Wednesday through Saturday, the 7th through the 10th of February, are all going to the Boys and Girls Club. So it's just $5 a day to get in. We've got seating for about 350 people. And
Wow.
so, yeah, we've got raised bleacher seating in there. Um, so anybody that comes in, it's going to go to a good cause, and everything's going to be donated back to the Boys and Girls Club from the door. We have programs printed this year, and so the half the proceeds from the programs are going to go to them, as well as some drink sales. I actually had a local drink company, Shine Water, come on board and donate 40 cases of water for
Oof.
us, and they're a company local that really gets into the community and pretty much puts out anything out there to help, worthy causes.
That's absolutely fantastic. I mean, one of the hard things, of course, is to get outside industry sponsors for stuff like this, and you've done really, really well by the sounds of it, and for such a good cause. Also, I'm a big advocate for it. It all starts with the youngsters. It all starts with the boys and girls. They're the stars of the future, and you just hope, don't you, that one or two of them are going to look and be amazed by it and want to go and pick up a cue and take up the sport, right?
That's true. And basically, my model for the tournament was, okay, if I can get really good players here, then people are going to come out to watch, and it just trickles back down to the Boys and Girls Club. And so, we've got about, I think I've raised about between $10,000 and $11,000 added money for this tournament. So we're going to be paying out almost $15,000 with the entry fees, which is on par with some of the biggest artistic pool tournaments we've ever had.
That's absolutely fantastic. Well, I want to talk more about like the disciplines in artistic pool. For those that have never seen it, what can they expect? I mean, I was very surprised the first time I saw it. I thought it was just people going to be all trying the same trick or coming up with their own trick shots and see who was the best, and you held up points to see who you thought was best. So that's how naive I was, of course. I'm just used to seeing little bits here and there of trick shots online. So just explain to the viewers, please, how the competition actually works.
Well, even though Trickshots started out really as an entertainment value, the artistic pool movement has put point values and difficulty ratings on each one of our shots. So coming into an artistic pool tournament, you're going to expect each player to basically shoot their best 40 shots of our 120 shot program. So we have 120 shots that we have put together in 8 different disciplines, and those are trick and fancy, which is multiple balls going in, like the just showing off shot, other shots like that. And then special arts is our second discipline. That's prop shots, speed shots, things like that. Third discipline is draw. Anything that's going to you might make 3 or 4 balls and then draw back and actually pocket a 4th ball. And then follow shots, bank kick shots, and these are 5-rail kick shots. You might see some 1-pocket shots that you wouldn't normally see. Stroke shots, 2mm shots where you're basically 2mm away from that cue ball and actually getting the cue ball to come backwards. And jump shots, and then masse shots. And masses get nuts. We actually will jump a ball out of a rack and then masse back and make a ball in the corner. So you're going to see 40 shots, 5 shots in each one of those disciplines. And it's kind of the reverse of golf. Golf's trying to score low, we're trying to score high. At the end of our 40 shots, then we go head to head, basically like a game of horse. And we're picking from our program and seeing if we can capitalize on the lesser shots of our opponent.
So which discipline have you been? Double world champion, right?
I'm 5-time world champion.
5-time. I'm sorry. I'm giving you a chance to big yourself up here, mate. Come on. So what's your favourite disciplines? What have you won them in?
Well, my favorite, probably the draw category. I actually won the draw category in China when we were there. And jump is one of my better disciplines. I'm a 2-time world jump champion. Actually scored perfect along with Gabby Vashoyo in 2008 at the World Championships. We actually both scored 40 out of 40. And so, yeah.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Do you know my favourite shot, right? I've got 2 favourite shots.
I know one of them.
What's that?
The circular draw.
Circular draw. It is the circular draw. I mean, that is just such a tough shot, and I've seen it done, but not many times. It really is a really good shot. I'm looking forward to seeing that one. How is your circular draw at the moment? All right?
Pretty good. The last tournament, I actually shot it in the prelims. So, and actually made it the first attempt. So.
Oh, wow. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And another shot I'm really looking for. Oh, there's another one. I like Open the Gate. That's always a good little shot. And another one of my favorites though is, I think it's called Through the Window.
Through the window. That's a favorite of many players, and that shot's been around for a long time. It's a staple for artistic pool, where you actually have three balls by the side pocket. Cue ball comes into that cluster. One goes into the near side, one bank side, one goes to this corner, and the cue ball goes through a gap, a two ball gap, and pockets a ball in the other corner pocket. So these things get a little crazy.
Do you know, I'm getting excited already, and we've still got, how many days have we got to go? Four days to go, right?
4 days to go.
And you've been really sneaky here and quite clever, because you haven't got any travelling to do, right? None whatsoever. Somebody who has is the driver, right? Drew Sozio.
Oh yes, Andrew. He comes from all over the place. This guy's got probably more miles on the ground than Mike Massey has in the air. So
He actually gave me a lift back to New York from the last tournament that I was there at the league room. He drove me back to New York when I went to stay with Ira Lee there. So yeah, that was quite an experience, shall we say. I tell you, he was a nightmare to shop with, because he's got this, he can't eat any dairy, can he,
no,
or something else he can't eat.
yeah, he's got a lot of restrictions. So
Yeah, and the poor guy just couldn't find, stopping at all these gas station, like, grocery stores. He was having such a tough time trying to find something to eat.
we try to pick a restaurant we go out to eat that Andrew or Drew can eat also. So
So let's go back to the beginning for you then, Jason. I
okay.
mean, when did you get into it? Who enticed you into it? Who did you see? And who's your hero growing up?
Well, everybody watched Strickland and Corey Deuel out there and Johnny Archer and all these players from the '80s that was in the Miucci camp, and that's what I started watching, and then further on when Trickshot Magic came into fruition, I was watching those players. So in the trick shots, it'd be Mike Massey, Tom Rossman, anybody with a big stroke. I'm kind of a big stroke guy. That's kind of what I'm known for. Um, and so how I got into the sport in 2004, I was working with our local Relay for Life in my state, and I did a record attempt, much like Dave Pearson, the Ginger Wizard. He's actually from here in Bay City, also. Is where he lives. And we did a 24-hour record attempt for Guinness, and we actually got sponsors per ball and flat sponsorships. And I came short of the record, but I didn't sink 11,100 balls, and so in 24 hours. And then we actually raised about $1,200 to the Cancer Society. And after that, I was on actually Tom Rossman's website, chatting a little bit on his blog, and they were talking about different fundraisers and different things. So I outlined what we did, how it worked out, and just as a byline, and I never thought anything would come of it. I said, if there's anything out of the ordinary as far as trick shot, or speed pool tournaments, I'd like to know about it. Well, Tom called my house about 2 weeks later and invited me to my first tournament in Connecticut at Shooters, Sal Conni's old place, who was an old one of our trick shot artists, and walked in the door. And well, the funny thing is, Mike Massey picked me up at the airport, which was hilarious because he was my hero. He shook my hand, and my hand disappeared.
Yeah.
The big old bear paws he's got. Yeah, and went and got me checked in, and I walked in the pool room like I was somebody with Mike, and all these world champions and established players in the artistic pool, and I beat 2 players my first tournament, got invited to the Masters in Pennsylvania the next tournament, and did fairly well, and got invited to the Worlds in California that year, and so I've been doing it ever since. It's really been a love of mine.
What a fantastic story. So do you play other games as well? Do you like
Hmm.
rotation or one pocket or banks? What do you like playing when you
I
play?
pretty much like everything. Probably my best game is either one pocket or rotation 9 ball. And I played a few times at Derby. Also, I played at the Predator event here in Michigan a few years back. Did fairly well. Actually, beat the young player from Finland, Riku Romanen,
Riku
in one of the
Rompinen, yeah.
rounds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
I beat
there. I
him
was
in one of
there.
the
Yeah.
rounds. Yeah, and good player, excellent player. I don't think he thought the old man was going to get him, but I squeaked by in the sudden death. So
I remember it well. I was stood tableside. I remembered it. So artistic pool. I'm sorry, I keep calling it trick shots, but I love the term artistic pool. Where did it actually originate? Do you know where the origins of trick shots? Who
mhm.
played the first ever trick shot?
Who played the first ever trick shot? Probably Mingay, who was a French prisoner and developed the first Q-tip while he was in prison, and that's way back. And so some of the shots that are in our program, like the butterfly shot and some of the other shots, have been around, over 100 years.
Do you know that guy that you just mentioned? I did that on a radio show recently as a fun fact. No, I didn't. I did it in commentary once when I have some fun little facts about Paul and the
Hmm.
origins of different things. Funny you bring him up because whilst developing the leather tip,
Hmm.
his sentence came to an end, but he
Yes.
asked for more time so that he could
Hmm.
so he could perfect it. Right? What a beautiful story, right?
It's crazy how there's a lot of guys in this era that are probably that dedicated to pool that would do it. I think in the same way. So we've got some nutty guys out there that love the game.
Now, another interest I know of yours is there's the gospel trick shot team, Rax.
Hmm.
Tell us a
Yep.
little bit about that if you don't mind.
Well, Gospel Trick Shot Ministries has been a ministry for over 25 years. It was founded by Steve Lillis in partnership with Hawthorne Baptist Church in New Jersey, and we are in over 35 different countries right now, including a group in South Africa that's um, led by Wayne Parker. He's an evangelist. He's also one of our artistic pool players. And we just actually got back from Johannesburg, South Africa, where we actually brought artistic pool to the blackball tables, and that's never been done before. So we, as that group, oversaw the the GTS Artistic Cup there in Johannesburg, South Africa. And so, artistic pool is just something that you know is is vocal because you're explaining the shots. And so what Gospel Trick Shots does as a RAC team member, which is Recreational Ambassadors to Christ's Kingdom, that's RAC. And so we'll
Okay.
go in and we'll actually take a trick shot and we'll put either a scripture message or a religious connotation to it or a life lesson. One of the easiest gospel trick shots is your follow, stop, and draw shots. It's real basic. You'll set a ball up in the pocket, hit it in the pocket, and follow it in with the cue ball because you can't have to be very careful who you follow because it can lead to destruction. And especially in this industry, we've had a lot of people following the wrong people, and it has led to destruction. A lot of tours have fallen just because they haven't done things the right way.
Yeah, I like that. I bumped into Steve Lillis at Derby City a
Hmm.
couple of years back, and he was doing some trick shots with the stories behind and the, I guess, positivity and stuff like that. It's not all religious, it's some life lessons, as you said, and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And I found it very interesting. I think it's a good way to get the shots across, like telling a story. That's
Hmm.
what that's what I remember Mike Massey for. It's what I remember all the snooker players for. When Dennis
Hmm.
Taylor would do his trick shots, he would be telling you
Hmm.
jokes and telling you stories about it, and it's great, and it is entertainment. And I just wish that there was more of this kind of thing. And it's great that you're pushing it, and people are, you know, more people are coming into it. And I think you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you, Mark.
You mentioned blackball there. Now, the ultimate pool in the UK, right?
Hmm.
That's now coming to America. They've just signed the deal where it is going to be coming to America. How do you see that game going?
Blackball is actually I love the game. It's actually more strategy than I think even than American eight ball. As far as cue sports, you asked me what the cue sports I love, and black ball's right up there. Um, lot different strategy because in American pool eight ball, you can actually hit your ball, pocket your opponent's ball, and call safe. In black ball, you cannot pocket your opponent's ball unless you're pocketing yours also. So if you played a safe and actually put your ball in front of a hole, that your opponent can't really move that until they actually pocket their ball or play it with a breakout. So there's a lot more strategy in black ball. And the pockets, they're rounded snooker pockets. So you have to be a little more accurate. And we had a learning curve because, our black ball team, um, and it consisted of Steve Lillis, Michael Hewitt out of Indiana, myself, Tom Rossman, and Phil Ball. Phil Ball, player out of New Jersey. And so we had a learning curve because the pockets are rounded, the pool balls are smaller, they're 2-inch object balls, and the cue ball is inch and 7/8. So when we would normally follow through an object ball on a shot, you can't do that. So your strategies and the tangent point of when you cut a ball changes because of the physics of the different size balls. So there's a big learning curve there.
I was going to ask you a question here because a big contention, even in the UK, is the size of the white ball. It's never changed, and it was only ever that size because it had to come out of a different channel when it came back, right? I'm just wondering, will they change it to make the cue ball the same size? And if they did, if they didn't do it, for example, would it put Americans off playing it? Would you get more playing it if it was the same size? Or don't you think it will make any difference?
I think that tradition of that sport and the top players that you have grown up playing with that smaller size cue ball. And so I don't think if it's not broke, you shouldn't fix it. And I don't think that game is broke. It actually lends a little more strategy to the game, and I think leave as is. I think the Americans, because of the difference, um, I think they'll embrace it. It's a great game.
That's
Yeah.
interesting because I've been having a few conversations with different people about it, going over to the States and
Mhm.
how they would take it. So it's a very interesting uh, point there. One
Now we now,
idea.
now let me
Go on.
interrupt you. We have black ball tables actually here in the U.S. already, and they're for a while there we didn't really have any black ball tables at all in the U.S. And we actually the table company that was there at the Holly Cup in Johannesburg actually is producing tables to import to the U.S. So I think there was the first container McDermott brought in. So there's 16 tables that were brought in after the Holly Cup, and I know there's more coming. So it's a good thing we've got tables coming in now.
Okay, I heard that the tables that they were going to use for the Ultimate Pool Tour were going to be Rassons. I don't know how true that
They
is.
they may be, they may be. I know the ones that are coming in are Uniteds from that McDermott brought in. So I think what it is you've got all these different companies now seeing another revenue stream in the U.S. for blackball tables, and so
Yeah,
where there's business, you're going to see the tables come in, and which is good. I mean, it's another cue sport. It's
absolutely.
another discipline, and it's another opportunity, to play another cue sport. I think it's great.
Listen, we're going to take a little break to have a word from our sponsors, and we'll come back with part two. So don't go anywhere, please, Jason. Just hold on while we play a few ads. Somebody's got to pay for this, right?
Yeah, there we go.
And we'll be back soon, guys, with part two. You don't want to miss it. Jason Lynch, what a character. We'll see you soon. Hi guys, welcome back to part two. I'm here with the legendary Jason, the Michigan Kid Freddie Lynch. Why? How come you got five names now? Freddie, sorry, Jason, the Michigan kid. That's three. That's four. Freddie, five. Lynch, six. That's a bit greedy, isn't it?
I don't know. Tom Rossman named me after my first tournament I went to in 2004. I walked in the door and he asked me, "What's your nickname?" I said, "Well, I don't have a nickname." He said, "Well," he said, He said, "How about the Michigan Kid?" And it just stuck. So I took ownership of it, and I think right after that tournament, I bought the URL of MichiganKid.com. So that's my website to this day.
I was just
So
going to ask you what would happen if Shane Van Bonen decided to move from South Dakota to where you are, or you decided to move from Michigan to South Dakota. Who would be the kid then?
not me. Well, we got two Supermans. We got two Supermans. We got Roberto Gomez in the pool
Yeah,
world, and we've
yeah.
got Brian Pauly in the artistic pool world. So,
I
you
think
know,
that's kind of okay though, because it's different disciplines. To talking about Brian. Brian's the president, right, of the association. Is it president?
chairman, president, and actually, as of the 1st of February, Brian has stepped down, and
Oh,
you can either give me congratulations or sympathy, whatever card you want to send. I am now taking the reins of the artistic pool division for the world.
wow. So going ahead with a new leader, is there new things in the pipeline? Have you got a different vision than Brian maybe have had, or is this like a you're going forward in a different way, or
No, I don't think the vision has changed. You know, artistic pool, I think we have more resources now and we've got more people interested. The vision has never changed for the artistic pool. We're still aligned with the WPA, with the vision basically to bring Q sports to the world, especially with the artistic pool. We've got groups now in South Africa that are coming online with Wayne Parker being the catalyst there. And we actually have a group in Australia that's really wanting to play artistic pool, and that came basically from Jeremy Bowers from Australia. He was at the Holly Cup in South Africa where we went, and he placed very high in the artistic pool black ball tournament we had, and so they're embracing it in Australia. So I think we're going to see this go worldwide.
well, that's good to hear. I've actually got a trip to Down Under planned for either June or July. I think
Hmm.
it's going to be. There's a new pool room opening there. I believe Stuart Rogers is opening one. You know Stuart? Do you know Stuart
I have
Rogers?
not met Stewart.
Okay. He's part of the
Um,
WPA kind of media team now.
okay. I guess my vision going forward, and it's been a shared vision, to really, you know, up the ante as far as artistic pool. This is kind of an unsung sport in the Q sport world. We're thought of people that know the shots and know how difficult they are. Give us the kudos, but there's a lot of people that think we're just, they're easy shots, just set up and they're easy to shoot. Uh, I think there'd be a big learning curve for any of the pro players from the 8 ball and 9 ball side when they came into trick shots. Now going
Is
forward,
yeah.
with the tournament that we have in Bay City, with the Boys and Girls Club, it's really worked out well. And I think, for me at least, you know, in the U.S., I think we're going to kind of use a cookie cutter approach and actually take that, um, uh, kind of the mold that I've got made with the Boys and Girls Club, and I'm going to actually reach out to other Boys and Girls Club along the United States and see if we can partner with them in different cities, do some good, and actually have some world ranking tournaments all around the country. But the vision wise, I think is good for the U.S. And then our ranking system is probably going to go to a federation ranking system because our tournaments in the past, we were at $5,000 added for a world ranking tournament, and we actually were having issues getting really a lot of tournaments. So we actually dropped that to $2,500 for a world ranking tournament. But that's really not fair to our overseas players. And we want this to be a worldwide sport that's very attainable for players in foreign countries. And so, excuse me, what we're looking at doing is raising that back up to $5,000 added. It'll be a good prize purse when the players come over. And then our federation rankings will actually go from a world ranking system, which includes a lot of our federation terms that I call them, that were $2,500 added. Those will drop into a BCA ranking system. We're actually right now in talks with the BCA of joining them as far as a ranking, for our USA players. We actually already fall under the BCA with the artistic pool umbrella, because that is the governing body, for the USAQ sports is the BCA. So,
So how will that fit in with the WPA?
well, the WPA has the different federations throughout the world. And so when we send out our invites for the world tournament, we actually have an allocation for each one of the federations of so many spots. And so the nice thing about that is if you're in a federation, like for instance, South Africa, they've actually had two artistic pool tournaments in South Africa. They had a Massey Cup and a Rossman Cup over there, Dr. Q Cup, which is
Wow.
great. Um, kind of giving a nod to the people that came before to establish the sport. They actually have some players over there that will have federation rankings in place because of those two tournaments. And then so when they get their invites, they can go to their federation rankings and go right down the list and actually send those players. It's
Brilliant.
just a good thing as far as the whole system that the WPA has in place.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's good to know that, to build up through the federations as well. I wanted to just bring up one stumbling block, which I always feel is the problem with artistic pool is it's the kind of discipline that you can only practice on your own table. You can't just walk into a normal billiard room and say, right, I'm going to go and do 5 or 6 hours practicing jump shots and masses and all these different shots and putting all these different pieces of equipment on the table and sitting on the table, sometimes laying on the table. How? What's your answer to that, Jason? How can we get over that? Does there need to be a designated table in rooms like that, for example?
That would be great. I mean, there's a lot of players that do have, local rooms that allow them to practice. Now, there are some things you can do as a player um, to actually, help the room out where you're not damaging the table. Like in our masse shots, we'll use a small piece of cloth as a masse pad. So if we come into a room, let's say a room wants to have us in there for an artistic pool tournament, and they don't want the cloth damaged. Well, the nice thing is with our artistic pool division, when we come in for a tournament, Simonis has come behind us, and once we're done with the tournament, we'll hand the room beds of cloth to replace what we've actually used. But the felt pads and other things you can use to protect that cloth. And there's 120 artistic pool shots. Not all are jumping, not all are massing. If you go through discipline 1 through discipline 6, none of those harm the table at all. It's only when you get into jump and masse, so 90% of the program you can actually practice.
Yeah, but it's not just the bed of the cloth that you've got to worry about. Listen, I don't know whether you've been to Florian's house. I'm sure you have, but I've been to Florian's house, and I've seen the walls with the gouges out of them. He's jumped through a window before. There's all his rails are messed up. I mean, he takes the cloth off his rails sometimes. No, I'm just kidding, of course. I know you respect to the tables, and yeah, it's good that you get new cloths put on for them afterwards as well. Yes. So let me ask you a little bit more about the boys and girls clubs. How would you compare that to what we have in the UK? Is it like scouts? Is it like girl guides? What is the boys and girls club?
Well, that's a hard question to answer because I don't know what your guides or your scouts are there in the
Okay.
UK. But the Boys and Girls Club here, let me give you some information on those.
Yeah.
The Boys and Girls Club, basically, they'll do like after school programs. They might provide meals for the kids. They've got facilities for basketball, and sports. And you've got peer mentoring there too. So there's a lot of things that they do. They kind of fills in the gap, when parents need a little bit of help. And the Boys and Girls Club has been around for a long time here in the U.S. They're a great organization.
Oh, fantastic. I love anything like that. As I said before at the beginning, the kids are the future of whatever sport they choose to do. Do they actually have pool tables in those at the moment, or is it something you're working on doing? They already have them, yeah?
They already do, and there's actually I think there's two or three here in the local Bay City branch. And actually, when I went in to talk to them about hosting the tournament, I actually donated some sets of balls and some equipment for them, to kind of get them a little bit better as far as their equipment wise. So
I'll tell you what we need to do if we do another interview. We need to talk about our backdrops because we've come up with exactly the same backdrop, haven't we?
we have.
I thought I'm going to be really clever here. I'm really going to surprise him. And then we turn the cameras on and you've surprised me. Of course you was going to have that. Actually, mine's
Well,
not a real one.
all the promotion I've done for this tournament, you are definitely going to see this behind me. So.
Brilliant. Are we going to get to have a little bit of a commentate together as well, do you think, over the 4 days?
Well, it's kind of my baby, so if I've got some time from the venue, definitely I would love to, Mark. We work well together, and your golden voice and your enunciation is perfect for artistic pool.
Well, coming from somebody with a voice like you've got, I mean, everyone says I've got a face for radio, but you've definitely got a voice for radio. Have you ever thought of doing radio?
I did radio. Actually, when I was in college, I interned at one of the local radio stations, and then later on, I was actually on air in an oldies station, which I love oldies music, and I run a mobile DJ company for over 10 years. So it was a hobby of mine, and once in a while, I still get a call to do commentary, like with Florian's event there in West Virginia at the League Room. So.
Who streamed that? Who was it that streamed that particular event?
Actually, we streamed that out of the league room. You
Wow,
know,
good job.
and Florian's equipment along with Chris Wilson. Chris Wilson, I can't say enough about that man. You go in there for an event, and that guy, he'll bend over backwards to help you. We had an
Oh,
artistic pool event there, and in the pit, which is one of the areas in that venue, had three tables that had 4.5-inch pockets. Last one was a one pocket table. Chris actually grabbed another top for a diamond table and switched it out in about 15 minutes. He says, "There's no way." He said, "We need to make." He says, "Whatever you guys need." He says, "I'm here for you." And so, if you're in the area, and Ligro is one of my sponsors. If you're in the area of West Virginia, stop in and see Chris. They've got axe throwing and more pool tables than you can imagine.
yeah, I remember the pit. Nathan Wallace was actually playing a challenge match against a guy there when we were there that time. I forget who he was playing.
Was it Shane Wolford?
No, it wasn't Shane because I know
No,
Shane.
I don't remember.
It wasn't him. But going back to Chris very briefly, he was recovering all those tables for you. I remember the night before, and I was having trouble getting a taxi home. Do you know that guy stopped doing what he was doing? And this is like 1:30 in the morning already,
Hmm.
and he said he was going to be there till about 6 a.m. He thought he took time out to run me back to my hotel. I mean, what a tremendous guy! I really can't say enough about him. But I want to go back to radio once again because
Hmm.
my first love was always radio. Growing up as a kid, I always wanted to do it. Finally got the chance when I was in Estonia. Did radio for about 5 years there, and then I continued it in Spain, and then I did some back in the UK, and I also done some in Thailand back in 2014. But I've literally just 3 weeks ago, I had my first show 3 weeks ago here. I'm doing a Mark White in the afternoon on a Thursday afternoon, simply because it's the only time that I can squeeze in one show a week. I used to do 5 a week, just don't physically have the time at the moment to do that. But I'm going to start another weekly radio show, so I'll have two. But the second one is going to be pool based, like
Oh,
Q
wonderful.
Sports based. So I'm already lining up guests to come on, and they'll come on, over the telephone or via Zoom, whatever, and
Hmm.
we'll have some chats about pretty much like we're doing now, but then we'll get to break it up with some music, and they can choose some of their favourite music that they want to listen to, and people can call in and ask them questions. So it's going to be really cool. So I'd like to invite you to be one of the guys that come on there. Well, maybe, well, definitely once, but we'll see what we can sort out for, for getting the American angle and also the artistic pool angle on that as well, because I'd love to see this sport really, really grow, because it is fantastic. It really is entertaining. There's some great characters in it, and one thing that I've really, really hit me was the camaraderie between you guys. You would never know that you're all fighting for the same trophy, because you're all applauding each other's shots, and you're just so happy when somebody makes it. I mean, genuinely, you're high-fiving each other, and it really, really surprised me, and it's really nice to see. I mean, has it always been like that, or is it something that's happened recently?
And this has always been like that. Um, every time I go to a tournament, it's kind of like a family reunion. And when I just celebrated my 1 year anniversary and my new wife in August, and at the wedding, I
Cheers.
actually cheers, exactly. I had slated to have the Brian Pauly, Abram Diaz, and Jamie Moody stand at my wedding, and that didn't come to fruition because we had to change the dates of the wedding. But Brian has been my road partner since 2014, so he's my ride or die as far as artistic pool wise. And so he's a brother, and also a brother in Christ, which is kind of cool. But yeah, getting back to that, when you go to a tournament, as we go through these shots, there's so many near misses. You can't help but applaud, when something goes in and some of these tough shots. Some of these shots you're walking a knife edge if you're making it or not. So when the other player makes it, it's like, oh wow, there's some hope we can make this shot. You know.
So, I just mentioned radio there for a minute. What do you listen to? What kind of music are you into?
Oh, I love oldies, but I like Michael Bublé and the old Sinatra and anything. I think I should have been born about 20 years prior or 30 years prior to what I was. Um, I'm 48 and one of the oldest American players. I think maybe the oldest American player that plays all the tournaments. Um, but yeah, I see these young players coming in, and I got beat at the clubhouse by a player that's younger than the many years I've been in artistic pool. I've been doing this since 2004, so that's 20
Yeah.
years. And Theo, who hasn't been on the planet,
Yes.
actually beat me in the tournament. So we've got some young players coming in, and hopefully, we make sure that we stay true to the original vision of artistic pool, and these younger players can actually take that vision and run with it also.
I remember Theo, lovely kid, and really got lots and lots of encouragement as well, which is it's a great environment for youngsters to grow up in, if you like, in the artistic pool world. Is is he solely an artistic pool player, or did he come via rotation? Do you know?
He plays a little bit of pool, but I think his love was artistic pool. Um, he's also into martial arts, and he doesn't make this tournament because he's got college, and he's heading off to see what career he's going to have. So, but we wish him all the best, and we'll miss him here at this tournament. But you know,
So, what does Jason Lynch do to relax? What do you do? Do you like watching movies? Do you go for walks?
I play my guitar, like doing
Ah,
that. That's a big thing I like to do. But I've been so busy in this world tournament getting everything together, I haven't really had much time to do much of anything, other than, you know, uh, basically
Sounds
getting
like
sponsors and
sounds like your wife's playing the drums out the back. You
no,
starting a band?
no.
Do you watch Netflix at all? What do you like to watch on Netflix? What's on your recently watched list for Netflix recently?
Well, you laugh at me. I've been
Oh,
binge
what?
watching old shows of MASH.
Old shows of what?
MASH.
MASH. Do you know, I never got into that as a kid. It was on in the 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 70s.
Was it Alan Alda in that?
Alan Alda. Yep.
Yeah, but just never really got into that.
Well, and I
Um,
like all the Marvel movies.
yeah,
So
yeah. Well, of course you do. You're best pals with Brian Pauly, right?
there you go. But that's DC.
Oh, has he ever worn his? No, of course he hasn't. Another thing, of course, is the dress. You all wear the nice vests, as you call them. We
hmm
call them waistcoats. You always look super smart, always super polite. I'm really gutted that I'm not going to be there for this
Well,
one.
we're
I
there for
really
four
am.
days, Mark. We're there for 4 days. Hop on a plane.
Unfortunately, I've got Vegas tournament that I'm going to be commentating on probably remotely, and then I'm off to China. Leads me nicely actually into a question that I want. Is somebody playing pool there? Is your wife playing
One of my
pool?
buddies is here where he can hear you
Ah,
playing. Yeah, he's hitting a couple balls where when I get done here, we're actually going to set up a pool table for one of the local people. So
oh, nice. Well, look, I won't keep you too much longer then.
no, you're fine.
How much of the game do you think? I like to ask all my guests this. How much of the game of pool do you think is in the mind?
Oh, I think visualization is a huge is a huge thing for pool, especially an artistic pool. Um, if you can actually envision it, you can actually probably achieve it. Uh, and when you tense up, just like in golf, if you're tensed up, you can't, execute what you're trying to do. With artistic pool, especially with the stroke shots, you have to have very loose wrist, very free swing of the cue. And so, you actually have to be in a good mindset. And one of the things I do when I'm playing artistic pool is I shoot kind of fast and loose, and I'm a little talkative, and it just keeps me loose to play good. And that's what I've always done.
Yeah, I noticed that about you. I thought it might have been a nervous thing, but maybe not. Maybe that's what relaxes you, right?
hmm
Do you do you use yoga? Are you into anything like that, or Tai Chi, or
Nope, just
Tai
me.
Fu, Tai
Just
Fu,
me. Tofu? No.
Tai Fu tea? So, before you go, do you have a full time job, or is artistic pool a full time job now? Being
Well,
the
and
head.
well, it pretty much is at this point. I was doing home health care. Um, and well, how that came about is actually I was doing electrical work. My dad was a master electrician, and so I kind of went into that trade for a little while. And I got laid off after I had gotten COVID. When I came back to work, he didn't really have any work for me, and so I started drawing my unemployment. But my girlfriend at the time was the lead scheduler for a home health care agency, and we didn't talk about it. But in 2013, I actually lost a wife to cancer after a year and a half battle, and I took care of her, and so I really had all the training, to do home health care. And so,
Wow.
Kira actually, my wife now, asked me if I wanted to actually start taking care of a couple of people, and so I started doing that. Um, and basically, she's gotten to a point in her job where she went from lead scheduler and now she's a lead recruiter for 8 different healthcare offices in Wisconsin and in Michigan. And I think she just got Wyoming. I mean, she's recruiting for quite a few states. And with her job coming up, it actually gives me a little bit of pause and allowed me to basically go all pool. So it's just been a blessing. And there's no way I could have did this world tournament and gotten the sponsors I've gotten if not for what she's been able to do in her uh, personal job. And so what we're doing is trying to make artistic pool and pool a viable business for me. And so we're going forward and we're doing pretty well right now.
Well, I started this interview by saying you're a larger than life character, and I've always thought that when I've seen you around tournaments. I've always thought you're, the man with the big voice, and you've got ooze all this confidence and great personality, and a more sexy voice than mine, so I'm told now. So that's that one out the window. But you're a super caring, super nice guy, and really wish you all the luck, Jason. And as you know, I'm always around if you think that I can help in any way whatsoever, especially with the Boys and the Girls Club. I would love to get involved in that some way. I'm trying to get, well, I have done it in Thailand a couple of years ago as well. I was involved in some kind of stuff like that, helping underprivileged and homeless children and poor. Well, they're actually very poor here. So I'm always looking to help others. I can see it's a big part of your heart as well, and you are a super nice guy, and it's been so nice talking to you. And I just want to give you this opportunity now to once more tell everyone when the tournament is, how they can watch it, and give a shout out to all the sponsors. You're not just your own, but of course the sponsors for the upcoming tournament.
Well, the tournament is here in Bay City, Michigan, from February 7th through the 10th. We pretty much go from 9 to 9 every day, or 9 to 10. Um, and a shout out to Graf Chevrolet. They came as a diamond sponsor for the event. Statewide Billiards, I can't say enough of. They're actually providing 5 tables and lights for our tables that are going to be played on. The Doubletree Hotel, they've taken care of our banquet. I can't say enough about them. And our platinum sponsors, Ivan Simonis for providing cloth, Railbirds Productions, Doug and Becky Kelly, Aramis Billiard Balls, Littman Lights, That Guy's Barbecue in the area, In the Box Sportswear, and Diamond Limousine Service. Those are all our diamond and platinum sponsors, and we've got many other sponsors down the road, down the line. And so, and my personal sponsors, just a shout out to basically everybody that's allowed me to do what I'm doing, and I'm gonna pull them up so I don't forget anybody. So give me 1 second here.
That's fine.
Jacoby Hughes. I just got Jacoby Hughes as a sponsor. You see them here. Brandon's taken over for his dad after his dad passed away, and the company's in good hands. And so Jacoby's been very good to me, gave me all my equipment to go forward in the sport. Digital Pool is a force of nature in the billiard world. They're actually allowing online tournament brackets and, really putting, the pool in the hands of people that are running local tournaments and giving them a tool. In the Box Sportswear, Paramount Billiards, Cameron, Tom Chalk, who you've affiliated with also. They're doing wonderful for me. Bulletproof Tips, Railbirds, Littman Lights, Brad's Arcade, the League Room, and Doug and Becky Kelly. So those are all my sponsors, and I just want to thank them all for getting me where I'm at and continue to support me.
Well, I want to thank you very much as well for joining me. I know it's early Saturday morning for you. What is it, about 12 midday or something like that?
It's 11:30 here.
Okay, well, it's 11:30 here as well, but PM. I'm in Thailand, and I'll be, well, I guess when it starts 9 a.m. in the mornings. That's going to be 9 p.m. for me, and that will go until 10 a.m. in the mornings for me. But I wouldn't miss it for the world. I'm so looking forward to all you guys. I tell you, they've got some great stars as well added this year. Mike Massey, and Florian and all you other great bunch of guys. I cannot wait until that first ball is struck on the 7th of February. Wednesday the 7th of February, 9 a.m. your local time, yes?
Yeah, 9 a.m. is when our doors open. 10 o'clock, we hit the first ball.
Hit them good, Jason.
Hopefully. I'd like to bring the World Championship as well as the trophy here to Bay City.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? You had no excess luggage, no flying excess luggage. Just take the trophy home in your car.
That would be great.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you guys for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed talking to Jason Freddie Lynch, the Michigan kid. Thanks so much, Jason. Ta-da.
God bless.
Hi, I'm Lisa Couchet Rexsteiner from Graf Chevrolet on Wilder Road in Bay City. We are your premier new vehicle dealer. When you're looking for your new Chevy, we have new inventory arriving daily.
Get a new Chevrolet Silverado Crew Cab for just $340 a month. Drive off a new Equinox for $231 a month. Or get a new Chevy Blazer for $243 a month. GM employees save even more.
And we always have a great selection of used vehicles to choose from.
We are Graf Chevrolet,
Your auto dealer in the Great Lakes Bay.